Hey gentlemen, this is a satisfactory new playthrough. It's a patch 1.2, you can play it only with the experimental version of the game. There's a bunch of new stuff, pretty excited, but what I'm most excited for is actually randomized nodes, and you can pump up the resources needed for building a space elevator, for every single crafting recipe, and basically for everything that is in the game. So we are gonna torture ourselves, and I know we will have a totally different experience as we had before. So when you are starting the game, there is advanced tab. You can set up even the power requirements, and yeah, we set up 2 times, which is the biggest power requirements bonus that we can choose. Then when it comes to the resources, you can set up to 100 times resources, 100 times more resources needed for building and upgrading your space elevator and everything around it. We choose 10 times more, and I think we choose the correct thing, because even 10 times more is really like insane. The amount of leaves and wood you need to gather at the first stages of the game is just insane. And also every single thing you are crafting costs 10 times more, so it's quite crazy. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers, then 1000 this year, so maybe if you want to support me, I will be very happy. Now let's get into the action. We tortured a little bit ourselves because we have chosen to start without skipping so-called tutorial or so-called hub building stage. So we need to start working on our hub upgrades, and it takes a long time, I can tell you. Every single item needs to be handcrafted. Few of the things I can use machines on, I am using machines on, but the thing is, at start, when you are crafting a hub, you have only one generator for electricity, and you need to finish your hub and then you will get the second one. So that is kind of issue in these settings, because our power consumption is 2 times bigger. That means we can handle only one smelter or one constructor working on. So it is crazy, and I cannot imagine if we have chosen 5 times rates for electricity, it would be even more crazy, because we couldn't use any machines at start for whole hub building phase. Miners are really helpful at start, but I think 3 miners is not enough. If I would start again, I would choose to have 5 and stack resources for later use. The most interesting thing is, when you have 2 times energy requirements, you need a lot of energy, of course. And how do you get the energy at start? Well, you can gather leaves and maybe some branches lying around on the ground, but those are very scarce. So when it comes to the leaves, you will need to gather a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. So the first hour of your gameplay looks exactly the same. You gather some leaves, you power your machine, burner, and then you take your smelted iron and handcraft rods or plates. Of course, you will need few cables as well, but not that many. Once you finish your hub, it will be a little bit easier, because you can then use also the constructor, so you can actually create directly some plates or rods or wires. But I would use it for smelting more resources then, and use your time to craft manually, because you will need it. And finally, the storage containers are really useful, because you can just go out, bring some more fuel, and everything will be stored inside your storage. So yes, I was very curious when I heard news about the new features added to the game, and exactly that's why I started playing again, because it definitely looks like a new game. These new game modes added something very special to the game. So before I was playing completely different, and now I'm taking it more slow, and I need to think about my decisions more than just as before, when I was basically blasting through the game. And I would say before you don't really use all the features that there are, like all the unlocks and stuff like that. You can like literally sometimes you know, skip something, and now you are basically thinking, what should I focus on next in order to like be efficient, because simply everything is so expensive, like really expensive even at the start. And when you are getting further and further away, you are starting to see like a lot of, you know, those bottlenecks. Energy can be a huge bottlenecks. Then you have like even plates. You want to create the advanced reinforced plates, you know, but it's really difficult because it's so expensive. So yeah, I was like trying to create one more constructor, and I had the difficulty to create 2 plates. So this is really something new, and I would like to create a series when I will be playing on this difficulty, and I want to share my like journey with you guys. So if you wanna stick with me, just hit a sub and you will get notification when my next video will come out. And I hope maybe by doing this I can maybe help some spark to be created out of nowhere and encourage you to actually try it again and have a fun as well. I decided to start with the first biome, which is noob friendly. I already done that before multiple times, of course, and now I wanted to actually try it again because of the nodes that are randomized. And oh jeez, like this is crazy. I've already found some raw quartz just nearby. The special node, the Sam ore, like it's right on the hill, up in the hill where you can see those 2 big rocks. It's right next to it. Like I have a sulfur here, I have everything, even the bauxite. Strange thing is actually I did hit the randomized amount of purity, so that means sometimes you just have an impure thing over here, then you have a pure thing over there, and sometimes you just don't have enough copper around, you know? So such a simple thing to add a randomization, and then somehow you have a completely new experience at the start of the game. Because right now, when I'm going out to gather some leaves, I'm actually looking forward to find the new nodes around and plan on my next moves. So for example, if you research the MAM, you need to gather some raw quartz, which you will then transform into silica, and then you just need some cubes or something, and suddenly you have a blade runners very quickly. And if you have that ore vein just nearby, it's very convenient. Just like before, you had to usually run all the way to the waterfalls, and then you needed a lot of things to get to the small island over there, you know, and there were bees, you had to kill it, but you don't need to do it anymore right now. So actually it took me more than 1 hour to reach the final stage of the Hub 6 upgrade. And now question is what we should focus on right now. There are multiple ways we can approach that. We can try to go with the base building, which will give us some kind of foundations to build upon. But I think logistics is a right choice, because that way we will have mergers and splitters. and they are quite useful when it comes to building your power grid, because now we need to focus on power generation, and later on you have some special burners, I believe, but right now at start you can have only one input to every single burner, and you cannot chain it, so that way you need to build the storage unit, which will be supplying the generators with the fuel, but you will need the splitters, of course. So when it comes to the crafting times, especially the manual crafting times, I would say when you craft the iron plates it is quite quick, as well as the rods, and wires are a little bit slower because you need a lot in order to create the cables. And when it comes to the iron ingots and copper ingots, this is the slowest thing you can craft manually, so you are trying to basically using the smelters and then you can grab the other things. Then of course concrete, you will need the concrete, not that much, but the thing is, when you are a constructor using a constructor to do the concrete, it takes quite a long time, so you're basically wasting your slot for another possible thing, or I mean the machine, right? Yeah, so iron smelting is the most important. As you can see, I also dedicated 3 mining machines in order to mine the limestone, and we are still slowly progressing towards the next stages and unlocking the new machines. Of course, when it comes to the power, we already can craft the biomass, which will give us more time to do other things, because our energy will be produced a little bit more effectively. More energy generation, more mining machines, so we can even do more iron smelting. Of course, if we don't die to fall damage or the enemies that are guarding new nodes. When it comes to the collecting the hard drives, this gameplay will be very much needed in order to unlock special new recipes that will be giving us more items for less power. My first hard drive I decoded gave me actually the recipe for special wires, and oh boy, now I need to create 2 Caterium bars, which will give me a lot of wires, which will be very important in order to actually finish the stage 1 of the space elevator. Luckily I have 1 Caterium node just nearby. But we will get to that later on, because this episode is already being too long and we also need to save something for the next one. I'm Tommy, I play multiple games, and this time we are doing the Satisfactory Ultimate Hardcore hard mode, so stick around and let me know if you wanna see specifically something or learn specifically something that I haven't mentioned, and if I will know the answers I will definitely reply. So thank you for watching, and I hope I can see you on the next one. Bye bye!